Good afternoon, everybody, and once again, welcome to the Inspirational Anna Show, the show that aims to inspire you, educate you, and encourage you to be the best that you could be. How's your week been? Mine has been good. It's been hectic, it's been busy, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Why? Because in life, you have to be about something. You have to be on a mission. You have to feel like you're contributing your share to humanity. And I am very grateful to always have the opportunity to do my best and to bring my best to humanity. I do get rest. Sometimes I fall asleep and I don't even know where time went. That means I take time for myself to rest. Today is an exciting one. I'm excited about my guest who I've followed for years. And what I admire most about my guest is that she has been consistent for all the years that I followed her, from when she was in university to currently being a professor, a businesswoman, a woman. Let's not forget that. A powerful woman who's running things, running her home, running her business, running her career as a professor and a course lead. Ladies and gentlemen, let me simply introduce Rahel to you on the Inspirational Anna Show today. Hello,
Thank you so
lady.
much.
You.
Thank
How,
you. Thank
how
you.
are you?
I am great. I'm so happy and honored to be here with you. Thank you for that lovely introduction. And thank you for your commitment to watching me grow and transform from, a young lady to a woman, as you
A
said.
woman. You make me feel like a natural woman.
Woman.
Woman. From one woman to another, I applaud you, I acknowledge you, and I respect the work that you do. Just know that. So whenever
Thank
you
you.
get tired, and I know for those of us that keep running, we do get tired and sometimes get discouraged. But know that you're serving a purpose, you're doing a good job, and you're a light for somebody coming up. It doesn't matter what race, but you stand as a positive for some people who sometimes will not see their way forward. So,
Thank
ladies
you.
and gentlemen, this is Rahel. She's the founder of 1000 Training and Consulting.
Yes.
She's a professor and course lead at Sheridan College.
Yep.
She is a community woman, always contributing to community, giving herself, giving of her time. She's a mother of how many?
4.
What?
You might be able to overhear one right now.
I don't know why I'm shouting. I have 4 children.
It's not a common number anymore. That's why.
I need to check myself before I wreck myself, as they say. Right? Rahel is a
Yes.
recipient of so many awards. It's not even funny. You know, I was reading about you and I'm like, okay, my girl is on a roll and I love it. Why do I love it? Because you see, when you're in community or when you're doing something, you need to see people who are achieving things, people who are people admire and therefore will recognize their work. Sometimes we think what we do is simply what we do, but
Mm,
experience has taught me that it's usually not about us. Yes, we have the passion and we follow it through no matter how difficult, but there are people out there who are watching what we do. I will list her awards later on in the show. But today, Rahel is here we're talking about leadership and communication, right?
yes.
Two
Yes.
very important aspects of our lives that
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we take seriously enough, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted her to come on so that we could have a better understanding of these two things that we take for granted and how we can use them to move our lives into the next level and to perform at peak performance. All right.
Yes.
So you're our girl today. So my first question is
Yeah.
your business name,
Yes.
1,000. Tell us what that is about.
1,000. Okay, so this name was inspired by my mom. Growing up as a child to even now, my mom would always say, "Oh, 1,000, 1,000." And one day as a teenager, I just asked her, like, "Why do you always call me that?" So
Mm-hmm.
she said, "You're one person and you're doing 1,000 different things, you know?" So
Mm-hmm.
so that
Okay.
always stuck with me, because growing up, even when I was in school as in elementary, sorry, I would help with like morning announcements. I would tutor the younger kids. In middle school, I helped run a store. I was always doing something. And as you said, you've been watching me, so you know all the
Mhm,
things
I
I've been.
do.
Yes, so it's just a part of who I am. I'm always trying to challenge myself, and I really like. I believe that we need to be the change we want to see. And Anna, there's so many things that we need to change. So
Hmm.
whenever whenever I see something that I think I can make some type of difference to, even if it's just helping a child learn how to read, or if it's helping a community in South Africa get water, whatever it is, if I can contribute even just my insight
Mhm.
for a day, an hour, a year, wherever my capacity lies, for sure I will do something about it. So that's why I stuck with the name 1,000. My mother inspired it, so I have to give her the credit. Yes,
Well, let's clap for mom. She didn't
always.
know. She didn't know what she was doing. She thought she was just giving you a name, but look what it's turned into. And
Yeah,
by God's grace, you have taken the name and you're doing what you can to better society. Like I said, it's not always about ourselves. Some
no,
of us that do what we do, we're doing it anyhow, through thick and thin. Sometimes we're tired, but we get up and we go and do it anyway. But it's about what we project. It is
yes,
about that younger person who's looking at us. It is about that woman or man who's discouraged. It is about the next person who doesn't know what to do with themselves but needs
mm,
support. So this brings us to our two um, topics today: leadership and communication, right?
yes.
So, for the purposes of all of us out there who have taken the word leadership for granted, give us a little explanation of what leadership means.
Okay. I think that's a great question. And it's a question that's asked multiple times. And if you talk to some people, they will say, well, a leader is someone that has followers, simply put, right? You can't say you're
Mhm,
leading if you don't
mhm.
have anybody following you.
Right.
Um, Also, when it comes to leadership, it comes with someone that has the insight and the influence to make a difference and to make a
Mhm,
change or an
mhm,
impact. And most of the time, it's in other people's lives, right?
mhm, mhm,
So you can be a leader at almost like any level at any stage, whether it's within your home or the leader of the country, leader of the world. And there's so many different opportunities that we have to be leaders, even when we don't have the official title. Uh, some
mhm,
people, some people might be like a regular colleague in their job, but because of the way they influence their peers, sometimes they're more of a leader than their actual manager, right? The
right.
person with the title. So
Mhm,
for me personally, I think leadership is about someone that has influence and followers, and they also have the skills to think ahead and think about others and work with others. So it's not really about having a higher level, right?
mhm,
It's someone
mhm,
that's willing to do the work that they're expecting other people to do as well. I think that's a very important quality. And then lastly, it's someone that knows who they are and they
mhm.
know who their audience or their team or whoever it is that they're working with, they also know who they are as well.
Awesome. So, in saying that, in your line of work, as a professor, as a businesswoman, as a community woman, do you find that how does somebody know if they're a leader? How does
Okay, that's a good question too.
Yeah, because sometimes I think life overwhelms us. We get caught up in trying to make a living or trying to go from day to day that we don't even know, like we don't know ourselves. We could be a leader, but we're so bogged down by everything that we don't know that we're a leader. So how can somebody tell that I'm a leader?
Some of the like easiest ways is when people tell you.
Hmm.
That's how they see you, like, wow, you're really a leader. And sometimes, like you said, you're so focused on what you're doing. You're not really about the titles and all of those things, right? You just want to
Hmm.
get the work done, that you're not thinking about, oh, I'm actually, this is leadership and this is leadership skills and maybe I should develop that.
Hmm.
It's good when you don't technically know that you're a leader, because then you're focused on your work and your skills, but it's
Right.
also good to know that you're a leader, because then you know how to hone your skills and to
Hmm.
master those
Hmm.
skills. If we have people that are leaders with the right skills and to get the supports that they need, then we can make the changes and the impacts that we need to make. So that leads me to the other point. How else can you tell if you're a leader? Are you making impact? And what type
Hmm.
of impact are you making? Is it
Hmm.
changing people's lives? Is it making someone else better? Right? I think those are some of the things you'd have to really reflect. Um,
Hmm.
and don't just look at a title. I don't think a title, even though you might have that title, doesn't necessarily mean that you're leading, right? So look at
Right.
what impact do you have. Have other people identified that and they said they've seen you that way. Um, and I just want to be clear, it doesn't mean that we're just being defined by others. Remember, one of the things that I said is leaders have followers, right?
Hmm.
So who is following you and who says
Yes.
that they see you in that way? That's also important, because leaders lead people, right?
Yes, leaders need people. And you said something about once you know, then you hone your skills, right?
Yes.
So you could be a leader, but as I said before, because of life situations and stuff, you don't know. Or, sometimes you even know it, but
Yeah.
you don't know how to work it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
You don't know
Yes.
how to work it. You know that you could do this, and this person has said that, and that person has said that. But how do you become an effective leader so that
Mm.
people can see you as an inspiration? Because you could be a leader and just be disturbing people, right? I've seen a few
Very
of
true.
those.
Very true, Anna. Yes.
Truth be told, right? But how do you hone your skills in such a way that people are not afraid to come to you? People are following you with joy. People are following you because you're projecting genuineness. How do you
Yes.
do that?
I love that word, genuine. I value that word so much. So I'm so happy to hear you use it. And I think that's where I'm going to start, with being genuine. You see, one of the things that I said is, in order to be a leader, you need to know yourself, you need to know your people. So it
Mhm.
starts with you. What do you know about yourself? So now you've learned, okay, I have these leadership skills. People have identified it. I have people that I can influence in a positive way. I'm making a positive impact and so forth. Now you have to kind of sit with yourself and figure out, what is it that I'm actually doing. I would even write it down. Honestly, there's something
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
happens when, from brain to hand to pen, something happens
Mhm.
when we document that. So
Mhm.
I would sit down and say, okay, what is it that I'm doing? What is it that I'm good at? Maybe things that people have said that you're good at, as well as things you know about yourself. So once I would assess those things about myself, then I think, okay, what is it that I want to do? And the reason why I would go through that journey is because the genuine part, right? When you are leading in a way and you're leading a group of people that you want to, and you have that genuineness, and it's like you said, it can be tiresome, but you keep going. You're able
Mhm.
to keep going because it's from the heart, it's genuine, it's coming from you,
Mm.
want to do, right?
Mhm.
And that's the easiest way to tell your purpose, even, and to tell
Mhm.
your gift. gift. It's something that comes so easily to you. And you think it's easy for other people, but it's not. It's easy for you. So once you
Okay.
figure that out, then you say, okay, how can I get even better at this then? And
Mm-hmm.
that's what
Mm-hmm.
you keep working towards. So
Mm-hmm.
that would be, I would say, the 4-step process I would take. And the most wonderful thing happens once you start with that one thing. And that's one thing I also recommend with the 1,000. You always start with one thing, and it develops into so many different things. So
Mm-hmm.
even when I started my business, it was just delivering workshops, Anna. I delivered workshops. You know how I started delivering workshops? I was in university. I wasn't doing as much community work, and the community was reaching out to me, and they're like, "Hey, we have youth collaborations. We want you to run a workshop. We have a youth group that's starting. Can you run a workshop?" And then they said they'd pay me, and I was like, "What?
What?
Okay,
Okay.
pay me
Show me the money.
yeah." So it's because when I was working in the community as a volunteer doing what I love, people saw my skills and my abilities. And so when they didn't see me in the community, there was a demand for it, and they came to me for it. So
Mm.
one of the things my parents always said to me was that in order to make it in Canada, you need to have a business. So when I saw that people were willing to give me money for this thing, I started my business. I just registered online, paid that $60, and it was just workshops. It was that one thing. But from that, and I would have never dreamed, from that, now I'm doing project management for projects with a social enterprise. I just recently launched the online courses focusing on communication. Um, I'm like, there's so many things that have grown just from workshops, right?
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so when you learn that one thing that you're good at, don't worry about all the other things you want to do. Just work on that one thing. And as you grow, you will see how to, add to that and to continue to cater. Someone might just come to you and be like, "Hey, you know what? You're so good at this. I think if you did this course or if you did this training, you would really stand out." Then the right people will start coming to you. And it's just up to you now to initiate.
Whoa, this is wild. It sounds like you're loving what you do because they say out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, right?
Okay.
So
Yes.
it means that I'm watching you and I see that you're joyful about what you do. You believe in what you do. So you already project leadership qualities. You're already projecting that you know what you're talking about, right?
Thank you. I hope so.
No, you do. You do.
Yes.
You do. That is why you're here, for you and I to be able to disseminate information to whoever is watching. Because let's
Yes.
face it, life can get so difficult. You forget who you are, you forget your talents. Actually,
Yes.
sometimes you just want to throw it away just so you can breathe.
It's true. Speak the truth, and I love
Like,
it.
hello. Sometimes you're like, shoo, please. I'm not good at what I do. That's me sometimes. And my friends, I love my friends. When I try to
Mm.
complain, they're like, that's how some of them will do. They won't even say anything. They'll be like,
Don't mind her.
just go and let's come along. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm trying to complain here. Will somebody listen to me? Like, Rahel, nobody's listening to me. So I guess I'll just keep going.
Yes.
Anyway, so now let's say you understand. I know you said it, pick up the one thing, right? But what if, as a leader, I don't know about you, but I've received this so many times. What if you take that bold step and the door slams in your face? Where you thought help was going to come from, you were hit so hard, you even forgot where you were. Here you are standing in the snow in Toronto. You think you're in the heat in Accra.
Yeah. That's a nice way of putting it.
Yes. So the door is slammed in your face. You listen to Rahel say that, take that one step. Then you took that one step and you were hit so hard, like you forgot your name. So
What do
what
you
do
do?
you do? Because the disappointments are a bit too
Mm.
much sometimes. What do you
It's true.
do?
It's true. You know, there's so many things I want to say. First, this week I actually had a discussion with my children about what it means to fail. And I asked them if failure was a bad thing, and they said yes. And so I gave them my perspective on failure. And I said, failure is an opportunity to learn. And so if you look at it as an opportunity to learn, why did this door slam in your face? You might not be at the right door, right?
Mm, mm,
So
mm.
this is an opportunity for you to recognize which doors should I be in front of. Not every door is for you, Anna. I'm sorry to say. Not
What?
every door is
Oh
for
my
you.
God, you just broke my heart. Not every door. Who said I want to knock on 100 doors? How about just the one and I get what I want and go?
No, Anna, not every door is for you. I'm sorry.
All right. All right,
So
Rahel.
the lesson in that case, using your same analogy, would be to now reassess and reevaluate. And I also think it's important to note, make that time to grieve, because you lost something, right? So make
Wait.
that time to
No,
grieve.
no, no, no. Let me
Uh,
breathe.
yeah, it's important.
Say that again.
Make that time to grieve, because you lost something. You lost an opportunity. You can grieve that. It's
Mm,
okay.
okay.
Take that time to grieve. Don't grieve forever. Okay? Take
Oh no?
just no, not forever. Just take a small time, grieve that loss. Then I want you to reflect. Okay, I know what I lost. I lost an opportunity. Why did I lose this opportunity? Was this the place to go? Like I said, was that the right door? If not, okay, go back to the drawing board. In Ghana, we have like a saying, three heads are better than one. So
Right.
now it's time for you to go to your resources. And if you say, oh, Rahel, I don't have any resources, there's nobody else in my life trying to do what I'm doing, fine. There's LinkedIn groups, there's Facebook groups. You have connections from friends and family that you wouldn't even know. Even if you tell somebody, hey, I was trying to get more information about this, would you happen to know anybody? The worst thing they could say is no. And the best thing they could say is, you know what, I might know somebody. That happened for me, right?
Mhm.
So no matter what level you're at, always seek outside support and help from friends, family, and even online. Like, the internet is one of the best places. People start on Google, YouTube.
Mhm.
You can start from there. And there's lots of free webinars, seminars, especially since COVID started. I can't tell you how many marketing webinars I attended, because that was something I really wanted to understand,
Mhm.
right? And then you can take it from there. So at the end of the day, if you come to a spot where you feel like a failure because you weren't able to achieve something, you've taken that one step. Again, take the time to grieve, but then reflect. What is the lesson learned? Regroup and do it again. You're not
Mm,
a failure until you stop. Don't stop.
mm.
Just keep going. What One thing I want to add, Anna, in my last maybe 2 or 3 years, there's been a theme in my life, and the lesson has been consistency. I think that people underrate consistency, and I understand why. Because we hear things like, when somebody made it in society, or a rapper or whatever, they say, oh, they did this on their own. That's number
Mhm.
one. So people don't like to get help. Number two, they say something like overnight success.
Mhm.
There's no such thing. Can I just tell everybody, there's no such thing as an overnight success, Anna? There's no such thing. What it is somebody has been doing things consistently for a number, whether it's a record period of events or time, they've been doing it consistently. And then it's like one day out of nowhere, things start happening. But it's not like they did something today and tomorrow was successful.
Mm,
So I think that there's a lot of communication and words that mislead people. And that
mhm.
is why I always, when you ask me to talk about leadership, I said, let's talk about communication, because our
Mhm.
words are powerful. They create confusion or clarity, right? And if we
Yes.
come with an understanding of what we're communicating, and it's again not just with our words, with our body language, our tone, all of these things, then we can be more effective in our communication and getting the results we're looking for as well.
Wow. You know, I like that. I like that you made the statement. There's no such thing as an overnight success. I like
No.
that
No.
because it's like you watch the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
And these people come and run the 100-meter race under 90 seconds or 60 seconds.
Yeah.
You think they just got up and got there? Try telling me to go and run 100-meter race. I'll finish tomorrow because I have to stop, sleep a little,
Yeah.
get up, drink a little water,
Yep. You need the
get up,
towel to just.
massage my shin muscles and my calf muscles. What?
Oh
I don't
goodness.
know, man. But these people come out and
Hmm.
they run, and in no time, they're done. But it takes years and years and years for them to run those few seconds. So I'm saying that to back what you're saying,
Yeah.
that there's no such thing as an overnight success. When
No.
you look at some businesses like KFC dude, the guy struggled before the thing, but he was like 60 something before
Yeah.
KFC became a hit. And then
Yeah.
there's the light guy. What's his name? The bulb guy. I forgot
The
his name. But
okay. Okay. The inventor you're talking about?
the inventor,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So, so what we're saying is that as a leader, you're going to go through ups and downs, but you said connect with people.
Yeah.
Find people who will support you. In this day and age, between Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and all that, you can make so many connections. And one of the things I like are those inspirational videos that you
Mm,
can listen to when you're feeling down and out.
yes.
But before we go any further, I want to read some of your awards just to
Okay.
let people know that you're not just talking, your work has been recognized, your work is global. And so, what we're saying is that Rahel here has done very good work, and society has acknowledged her. It
Thank
says,
you.
my leadership abilities have been awarded by many prominent figures, such as Anne and Ed Mervish, Michael Pinball Clemens, and CIBC, and recently, the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal. I have been recognized by CBC Radio, City TV's The Livable City, and Flair Magazine, just to name a few. So, because she has followed her instincts, because she has worked hard, because she's been consistent, society has recognized her. So now we're going to go to the second topic, which is communication,
Mm,
right? We all communicate every day, from the time we wake up to we go to sleep. Sometimes we even communicate in our sleep because
yes.
our brains are working too hard. But
Hmm.
give us your definition of what communication is and what it means.
Sure. So communication is it's actually very basic. Um, it's about sending a message to a receiver. That's communication.
Mhm,
What I focus on is effective communication. So how do we
mhm,
do that effectively? And in order to communicate effectively, it's to ensure that the probability of the message that you're sending being received to the closest or the highest probability of it being received the way that you meant,
mhm,
that is effective communication. So the
mm,
higher the probability of the person receiving your message and either doing what you wanted them to do, hearing
mhm,
what you wanted them to hear, or stop doing what you wanted them to stop, that is your effectiveness. So what the reason why I like to focus on communication is because I've worked in social services, right? I started working in communities. I've worked in government. I've worked in corporate, and now I'm working in academia, right, at the college. What I noticed is no matter which industry I was in, no matter which uh, client group, customer, team I was a part of or that I led, communication was always a challenge.
mm,
Now, the thing is, like you said, we communicate all day, every day, even when we're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
So communication is underrated. But
Mm.
if you were to ask the question that you asked me, if you ask people what is communication, they wouldn't be able to tell you a
Yeah.
clear thing. The other thing I want to say about communication is it goes beyond words. It's actually like a accumulation of multiple things. So, in addition to us sending messages, we have something called modes of communication. And a mode of communication is how we send the message. The mode, you could pretend it's the vehicle used to get the message from one to the other,
Right.
right? And then within the modes, we have different modes that you can use, which is verbal or nonverbal. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody gets the verbal parts, text messages, calls, um, letters, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody more understands that, but it's the nonverbal ones that people don't understand impacts their communication. So
Right.
if I'm speaking to you and I'm talking loudly, even if I'm saying something good, but it sounds like I'm yelling, you're not going to receive it well because of how it's hitting your
Mm.
ear. If
Right.
I'm saying something to you, and again, even if it's nice words, but I've touched you in a way that's harmful or hurts, again, you're not going to receive it well. And most
Mm-hmm.
likely, you're not going to do or respond in the way I was hoping you would respond.
Right.
Um, so, one of the other interesting things is the visuals. So if you were to come to my office and I was in a really big building downtown Toronto, I had a big corner office with a beautiful view, you would think without me telling you that my business is doing well, is doing
Mm.
great. But
Mm-hmm.
if you came to my office and I'm in a basement of a church and it's dark, nothing against basement church offices. I'm just trying to make
I'm glad you said that.
I'm just trying to make a point here. But if you were to come and I was in a, in the corner in the basement somewhere, and you probably passed a bucket of water dripping, you'll be like, "Oh boy, like what is happening with Rahel? Does she need more help?"
True.
So
True.
just those visible things. Another thing that communicates something is how you treat people. So if you and I had an appointment for 4 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't ask you to come in till 4:30, 5 o'clock, I have communicated that your time is not valuable to me and I don't
Mm.
care, right? I've also communicated that you cannot trust me to make a commitment, right?
Mm.
Even with
Mm-hmm.
just time, without me saying that, right?
Right. Right.
So all of these things I've mentioned, including our words, are all a part of our communication. And yeah, I'll stop there.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
in listening to you, you said that we communicate silently,
Yep.
right? We communicate with the way we appear.
Yep.
We communicate in the way our surroundings are. We
Yes.
communicate. Sometimes we think communication is just words, like you and I are doing right now.
Yep.
But from what you're saying, communication comes in many forms. So
Yes.
I could, what's the word I'm looking for? I could get rid of you with the way I speak or don't
Mm-hmm.
speak, or I
Mm-hmm.
could welcome you into my space from the way I speak or don't speak. You
Yep.
said something, one of the things that's important to me that I wanted to speak with you when we decided we're going to talk about communication as well.
Mm-hmm.
When you're dealing with a contentious situation, right?
Mm.
How do you communicate so that, like you said, you get the results that you want? Because you could be asking somebody to do something, and because of the way you said it, they'll either not do it or
Mm-hmm.
they'll do it anyhow because you know how people get. People are so
Yes.
wicked.
They can be. Yes.
People are so mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when you're dealing with a contentious situation,
Mm-hmm.
how do you communicate so that you get results that work for you and also makes the person want to continue to be with you and to work with you, even though
Great
maybe
question.
they didn't get their results?
No, great question, Anna. So number one, I'm going to go back to knowing yourself, right? So before you communicate, what I teach in effective communication is you have to know your intention and your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So once you are clear about that, then you should communicate. If you are not clear, what happens is the other people that you share with are not going to be clear, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's the number one thing. So once I'm clear and I bring the message to people, remember the other thing is I know my audience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if I'm working with a team and I have a mixture of generations,
Right.
I might have some young people who want me to communicate via text. So I will share the same message with them, but in a short text form, because I know that they will get it right away. I will be able to get their attention, and it's in a format or a mode of communication that they understand and know.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a older generation, I probably need to call them with
Okay.
my message and
Mm-hmm.
say, this is the message that I'm giving the team or giving you or whoever. Um, these are the next steps. This is what I'll do afterwards. This is what I need from you. So
Mm-hmm.
the mode of communication is important. Once you know your audience, you can choose the right mode for them. Then
Mm-hmm.
the other thing is, I think um, one of the things that we are all guilty of, and something I had to learn, we think that once we communicate once is enough, but it's actually
Mm-hmm.
not. So now that I've sent the text to the younger generation, I've called the older generation, I will call a team meeting, reiterate what I said to them, have any questions answered, have others hear other questions that people will have, right? That will
Mm-hmm.
save me the work of answering multiple questions, by text and by
Right.
a phone. And then I would even follow up at the end with an email and even visuals sometimes to
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, folks, this is what we talked about. This was the understanding. And these are the next steps.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's multiple strategies, but at the foundation, like everything I'm talking to you about is fundamental communication stuff. The foundation is first knowing what your message is and
Mm-hmm.
what is your intention,
Mm-hmm.
knowing your audience,
Yes.
then deciding what is the best mode of communication, and then delivering the message in multiple ways, multiple times. And that is how you can be more successful and increase the probability of improving your communication.
So what you're saying is that let's say you have an organization, or you're going into a meeting, or you work with a group of people that are of different ages.
Yeah,
In order to accomplish what you want to communicate, it is important that you understand each group and what mode of communication works best for them.
correct.
That way, everybody feels understood. It's almost an emotional thing. Everybody
Yeah,
feels understood. Everybody feels heard. Everybody feels like their needs have been taken into consideration because you communicated with them on a level that they understand.
you got it.
Beautiful. So, what
You
if
got
you have a team and one person is just simply bad?
it. So, um,
As you can tell, I've had
yes,
quite a few experiences. One
yes.
person is just impossible in the group to deal with. How do you handle such a situation? Because maybe that person may be critical to your success. That person
Mm,
may be critical to the organization's success, but that person just doesn't get it. It's clueless. How do
yeah.
you deal with such a person through communication?
Mm. So, what you've brought up to me reminds me more of like managing a team. And one of the things that they say about managing a team, especially if you have somebody that's, for lack of better words, difficult.
Mm,
Okay. Um, One thing is to find out, okay, what is their goals? Why are they here?
mhm,
We
mhm,
know they're a critical part of the team. We know that we need them, but why are they here? So understanding what their intentions are. That's
mhm,
the first piece. And once you understand that, then you can discuss with them, okay, how can we ensure that you get to meet your goals and your intentions while still working for the team vision and the team goal.
Okay.
And if you guys can agree and it could be done, then great. You create a plan and a structured commitment that you've collaborated together to create, right? It shouldn't come from one or the other. It should be a collaboration with deadlines.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's the next thing.
Yes.
So with deadlines, and then with next steps. So, okay, great. I'm so glad we had this discussion and we're both in a better place. Let's check in 2 weeks. You don't just leave it there. You follow up and you check in, and you see how it's how things are going in 2 weeks. And if 2 weeks things are going great, but things need to be tweaked, that's fine. You tweak them. If they're great and you don't need to tweak them, then you don't tweak them. But if it's still bad, then a decision needs to be made. As much as they're a critical part of the team, there's somebody else out there, surprisingly, that will probably fit that role better for you.
Yes.
And again, you grieve your loss. Okay, suck it up. Next, you find the next person. And again, you go back
Beautiful.
to what I said before. Who's in your circle that you can reach out to that can help you find, sometimes some people need to be let go.
Yes.
And as soon as you let go of that person and you find the right person, your stuff just takes off.
Yes. Because that person may be holding the rest of the team back because of their attitude and all of that. So now we've spoken about, let's talk about that silent communication, right? Because sometimes you may not know that your silence is saying something, right? You may not know.
Yeah.
But so how do you recognize that your silence is either causing harm, or sometimes you go silent just to have your peace, right?
Yes.
But how do you know that your silence is not exactly helping the whole situation? How do you tune in? Because sometimes when we're doing something, we may think we're having peace that way, but then we're causing more harm than is necessary. How do we know when we're making such a mistake?
So that's a good question as well. This one is it's tough to identify, and the reason why I say that is it depends on you as a leader where you are. If you're in a position where you are open to hear what your team is saying, you might catch yourself. So if your team comes to you and they say, we've noticed you're really quiet lately and we haven't heard much from you, that's your cue, right? To say, oh my goodness, okay, so is this time that I'm taking to kind of ground myself, is it being seen or felt in a negative way? And you might ask your team that, like, oh, do you see my absence as a negative thing? Right? Some leaders might say, okay, that's me. And when I say leaders, I mean people that in this situation are managing others.
Right.
Some leaders might say, this is me not micromanaging my team. But I mean, you're not checking in at all.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So your team might start feeling like they're not valued, they're not appreciated. You're just doing your own thing and you don't care, but that's not your intention. Right. So I think in those type of cases, the best thing to do is to let your team know, folks, I know that I've been quiet lately, and some people have come to me about concerns with my quietness. Let me let you know what's happening. So this is what is happening. I see what you are all doing. Here are some highlights of the things I've noticed. Right? I want to continue the work. I trust that you guys, will do well. And at this time, whatever date, I will reconnect with you folks and let you know what I'm doing in my quiet time. Something like that.
Yeah.
It just goes back to just communicating it. Because the lack of communication can be very, very harmful. And you can end up losing really good people because they don't feel valued.
Right.
For that. So I think, that one is tough because if you're not in a good place during your quiet time, you might miss it.
You might miss it. So,
Yeah.
from what you're saying, a little bit of humility
Hmm.
is also a huge part of communication.
Oh, yes. I think
Mhm.
it's communication is all humility, Anna, because a lot of times, and especially in our relationships,
Oh
um,
Lord, you didn't go there,
I'm just
girl.
saying,
You did
a
not
lot,
start. You
no,
may
a lot
have to come back on that one. Oh
the thing
my.
is, a lot of people that have taken my communication webinar or courses have said that it's actually helped them in their relationship. So that's the only reason I bring it up. Um,
Oh no, you're gonna have to come back.
the thing is, we don't often listen um, to understand. We often
Mm.
listen to respond. You see, so as a leader, if you, or even as a communicator, as anybody, if I am speaking to you, Anna, to understand you, even I might not agree with what you're saying, but I want to make an effort to make sure I understand what you're saying, the
Mm-hmm.
way I will speak to you, the questions I will ask you,
Mm-hmm.
the focus that I will have will be very different than if I'm waiting to respond to tell you why what you're saying is wrong, and I'm the leader,
Mm-hmm.
so you have no place. It's
Yes,
very, very different.
yes. It makes the
So
person feel sort of like you brushed them off.
yes, and Shay agrees with me. I saw Shay made
Yes,
a comment. Very true.
yes.
Listen to
Thank you.
understand. Yes.
Listen to
Yes.
understand. So,
Yes.
in this case, leadership and communication. To be a leader, oh my God, I have to say this. To be a leader requires humility. Can you
Yes.
break that down? Break it down. Break it down, well. Break it down. Please.
So I'm gonna, again, I will always go back to the foundation of everything that I'm saying. In order for me to lead, I need to know how to communicate, and I have to understand what communication is, right? And communication goes beyond just words and beyond just me sending words. It's also about me receiving. The other thing is I have to know myself and I have to know others in order for me to do the work that's required for me to know myself. That
Mhm,
means that I have to recognize that I need to do that work, first of all,
mhm,
which takes humility. Knowing that
mhm,
I, even
mhm,
though I'm in this body 24/7 and I've been in this body since I was born, I don't know everything there is to know about me. And so I need to
mhm,
continue to do that work. And how much more is it that I don't know everything that I need to know about my team? We're always evolving as human beings. So yes, humility requires understanding that you need to do work on yourself, understanding that you need to understand and get to know the people that you lead and work with. And then lastly, as much as we've been communicating all our lives, communication's ever evolving, and there's always ways for us to communicate more effectively. I mean, I was doing some research recently. You think we have challenges communicating with human beings? Anna, they are developing AI for us to communicate with in the future. There's actually,
Hold up. What is
yeah.
the meaning of AI?
Oh, sorry.
Uh-huh.
Artificial intelligence.
Okay, there you
So
go.
we're talking about on a small scale chat boxes. A lot of times when you go to websites right now, a
Mhm.
box will pop up and they'll say, "Hi, I'm such and such.
Right
Please let me
away.
know what question." It's not a real human being. Those are just robots that have been created to generate that. And then when you type something in, it will respond with a standard response.
Mhm.
That is artificial intelligence communicating with you as a human. And we know it doesn't always work well, right?
Right.
A lot of times, even on the phone, when you call and they're like, "What did you call about? What? Okay, what extension?" And then you say extension 2, and they're like, "Did you say extension 3?" And you're like, "No," right? That is not what I said. So we're already doing communication with artificial intelligence, and they're trying to bring that up a notch in the future. They recognize that artificial intelligence also doesn't have the emotion that humans have, so they're working on that. At the same time, we already have enough trouble communicating as humans. So in the future, we're going to be communicating with robots. So we need to understand how to do that effectively. That's just I know I
So
took it to a
then,
whole other level, but
this artificial intelligence, because
Mhm.
it can get very frustrating when you
Yes.
call an office and you're on the phone forever, and then they keep playing the music, and
You don't love that?
you're hoping that some human being will come
Yes.
on and talk to you. These
Mm.
things are affecting us emotionally,
Yes.
right? They're affecting
Yes.
us emotionally. So
You're right.
therefore, as we have one another, and as we're moving into all this, we all know by now this artificial intelligence, when you call offices, press one, press two, do this,
Yes.
do that. How do we, to help all of us,
Yes.
come together and communicate well with each other? How do we see each other and
Mhm.
communicate well so that we can fill in that hole, that space for one another to live an effective life so that we can go on and do what we need to do as human beings?
I think that question makes me think of the I word, intentions. You see,
Mm,
if I call you and I say, "Hi, Anna, how are you today? Oh, great today. The weather's so cold. This, that. And oh, by the way, I wanted to know if you can lend me $100, right?" Then we
mhm.
know, aha, that is why you
That's
call.
why you called me. You ain't been calling me for more than 2 years. Now you're going to call me and talk about the weather. Come on, be real. Be real.
So I think that, and this is a cultural thing too. Like certain cultures are more direct than others, but you will find that most cultures are very indirect. So if we can be direct with our intentions, whether it's in a phone call, an email, a meeting, I'm calling this meeting for A, or I'm emailing you this for this purpose. That number one will save us a lot of time,
Mhm.
headache, wondering, all of those kind of things. And it won't be till the third email that you figured out why this person actually reached out to you, right?
Mhm.
So if we can just be right up front with our intentions, I'm hoping that you will help me write this report, and then explain to me why. Then I could write back and say, unfortunately, I don't have the time, or but here's some notes I would add, or so if we can be clear with our intentions from the get-go, what our goal and our purpose is, I think that will be a great start. The one thing we can do.
In other words, you're saying come straight.
Come straight. And coming straight too, I also want to put it out there, doesn't mean being rude. I don't know why there's in North America there's this thing where I'm straight up and I tell the truth. It doesn't mean you have to be rude about it at
or,
all. It doesn't, it's
or ignorant.
yeah, or ignorant about it, right? So I'm here because I need this, or I have a question about that, and these are the reasons why this, or here are the details. I think we need to do that.
Awesome. I am so proud of you. And I hope that we've been able to break things down a bit for people to hopefully help them on their way at work and also in our personal lives. Because listening and communication are actually the first two things that lead us on our journey every day as we step out to go and meet the world, as we step out to go and talk to somebody, to ask for the support that we need, and all of that. So we've said all this. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, please give us
Yes.
your website address.
Oh, for sure. So actually, there's two things. My address is 1000. So the word one, ONE, the number 1000 On there, you'll find information about me and my current online course on effective communication and community engagement. But next Thursday, at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, I'm also doing a webinar with a organization called African Caribbean Business Network, and everybody and anybody's invited as well.
What's the
So
date again?
it's Thursday, November 25th at 6:30. If you go to my Instagram page, which is at 1000 TC, or my Facebook page, 1000 Training and Consulting, you can also get the link on there as well.
Okay. So,
Thank you.
and you said it's with what group again?
African Caribbean Business Network. So it's a network of Black business owners who want to, improve their communication with their teams and those that they work with in their businesses.
And this is a free event that anybody can attend online?
Yes, it is a free online event that anyone can attend. But it's only happening next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
Well, my Rahel, thank you so much for all this information. You went there with the relationship thing. So please don't think you're done. I'm only beginning this journey with you.
Okay.
So that you and I can do a bit to support humanity. And also, you never know, you may be helping me. Because sometimes, sometimes I try not to be nice. But maybe if I'm talking to you on a consistent basis, you can be like, okay, Anna, you need to calm down. You need to stop crying. You need to be good to people. Let me tell you, Rahel, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
I like that you're doing it. You're doing it. A woman, a mother, a girl, a professor, a businesswoman, community person, and all of that. 1,000 indeed. Do you have any final words for our guests?
Yeah, I think one thing I want to leave with everyone is, as important as communication is, make sure that you're communicating and listening to yourself at all times. And you're making that time to hear yourself. I feel like we're in a world where we're constantly bombarded with things coming to us from the outside. What is your inside telling you? Start there.
Oh, I love that. What is your inside telling you? Start there. Oh my God, if I have to tell you what my inside is telling me, it will not be good. Well, Rahel, it's been a pleasure having you. I'm going to stay in touch with you. There's so much I think you and I can do for humanity and make the world a better place. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep doing what I do.
You too,
ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Inspirational Anna Show. And it is exactly what it is, the Inspirational Anna Show. The goal to inspire you, to encourage you, to educate you, to live your own best life. Until next time, stay blessed, be encouraged, be inspired, and don't forget to go to my YouTube page and subscribe to the channel for conversations for the soul. It's been your friend, Anna. Bye-bye. Bye, Rahel.